All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is time to talk about a particular movie that we haven't spoken about for quite a while, and that is Disney's upcoming Snow White film. Now, you guys know this particular movie has been in production hell for quite some time, right? I mean, this film is going through its third round of reshoots, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, 3 rounds of reshoots. That means that this budget for this movie is going to be astronomical, and there is almost no way they're going to be able to make their money back when you start accounting for things like marketing and whatnot. It is going to be insanity. But the funny thing is, apparently, Disney is making massive changes to Snow White during the 2 years of reshoots in the wake of Rachel Zegler's PR disaster.
It's Hollywood, baby.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you guys already know the weird Rachel Zegler, right? That person who decided to not control her ego, essentially, and she felt like she was on top of the world because she got cast to be Snow White. She really thought she was something, and she decided to run her mouth and do a PR move that was hated by basically everybody, and she was getting run through the mud for over a year until eventually Disney had to delay the film for another year for reshoots and basically trying to fix the image of the movie. So let's get into this article, guys, from That Park Place. But of course, before we do, if you are new here, just consider hitting that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it, and like the video to push us out into that YouTube algorithm. Now, I don't need to go into the entire nonsense with Rachel Zegler. You guys already know it. I don't have to rehash it. She's a psychopath, hardcore leftist, hardcore feminist. Nothing new here, right? But we're going to talk about the actual rumors, which comes from a source that has been right in the past, okay, when it comes to That Park Place. But keep in mind, what we're about to talk about is still just a rumor at the end of the day, but it has been confirmed many times that this person who has given sources before has been accurate, which leads credence to the rumor. So let's talk about it. It says now, however, a trusted source has reached out to That Park Place with new information, which we were allowed to print so long as we protected their identity. It should be noted that we use this source to great success and that we implore readers to still recognize this as a definitive rumor. We'll be discussing a future product which has not yet been released. Things can definitely change before opening day. Now, according to their source, Snow White has gone through 3 sets of reshoots as a result of backlash, a terrible original script, poor reception by focus groups, and grave concern by a number of Disney executives and licensing partners over just how badly this film might perform. Now, before we get into the rumors, it has been 100% expected that this movie was going to be a massive flop, okay? First, they decided to not even include dwarves, all right? They were hiring essentially people to be fill-ins. At least that's how it seemed anyway. And then all of a sudden, before they announced the delay, they wanted to show a teaser trailer that showcased her with actual CGI dwarves. So it seems like they tried to band-aid the decision to go with inclusive, diverse dwarves, and they decided to band-aid it with CGI dwarves. That's the easiest way to essentially do it. So we thought that was pretty damn funny. But before we get into it, let's talk about these rumors. According to the source, these reshoots have attempted the following. Number 1, clean up the original vision to exclude dwarves from the final product except for one live actor. Reshoots allegedly occurred at this point to allow for new CGI dwarves to be inserted into a large amount of the movie. We are informed this was not inexpensive and may have been adding an additional $30 million or more to the cost. Now, that is insanity, but that is absolutely accurate when it comes to the amount of CGI that they're supposedly using, right? Like, Disney CGI is not cheap. And the funny thing is, even though it's not cheap, it's still not normally good. Their CGI has taken a massive hit compared to CGI in the past, and it's because of, for whatever reason, right? They might be rushing them, they might not be paying them as much, perhaps they're not as good as they used to be, maybe they're not as skilled, who really knows? But their CGI costing $30 million extra, yeah, I 100% believe that. It says another set of reshoots was then ordered as a result of extremely poor reception by focus groups, which, by the way, we have spoken about and we have reported on before. They have had focus groups that did not like this film at all. It is going to show that if they are using these messages to push to a certain crowd, and then they show those messages to the focus group, if the focus group didn't even like it, what makes you think regular fans are going to like it? This film would have been a major disaster. And if they truly are doing reshoots to try to save their skin, then at least they're smart enough to realize that they had an impending massive failure on their hands. But even so, even if this film does better than the one originally was supposed to come out, it doesn't matter. Their budget is so high, they would have to make over $1 billion just to get even close to breaking even once you start giving the cut to movie theaters. It's just insane. It's just not possible. I don't see how they're ever going to make the money back, but let's just keep going. Again, apparently the focus groups detested the character of Snow White as portrayed in the movie, and this is a rumor, but we're told efforts were made to bring in the younger version of Snow White, which is played by a different actress, to try to soften the character. This may have included a new musical number added to give her even more screen time. So we actually spoke about this months ago, where there was a rumor coming out, and it looks like it's going to be confirmed true eventually. It's only a matter of time. But Rachel Zegler has a lot of her scenes being replaced or sidelined by a younger Snow White actress. This particular actress is going to be used to try to get women in the seats. That's really what it is. Try to get women in the seats, try to get families in the seats, and try to make it seem as if this super militarized feminist Snow White is not the actual Snow White. Even though it is, Rachel Zegler Snow White is going to be a feminist Snow White. There's no doubt about it. No matter how much they try to soften the image and soften the character, it can fool some people, but it's not going to fool everybody. She is going to be a hardcore feminist. It says, finally, a third set of reshoots has just wrapped up, and according to our source, these are the result of a movie that was still seen as incoherent and disjointed. The attempt was made more closely to align the film to the original animated feature-length film, while still allowing the Zegler version to have a pro-feminist message, albeit one that is softer and less militant. So again, ladies and gentlemen, they're going to be going with the militarized, hardcore feminist version of Snow White, and even if they're going to use a young actress to try to fool you, don't get fooled, because they still have their message that they have planned. Our source informs us that one of the driving factors for the third set of reshoots was to assure Mattel that this would not be damaging enterprise for the toy maker in supporting Snow White. Reshoots largely occurred before the box office results of Inside Out 2, so Disney was not in a good place for leverage and for providing confidence to partners in their box office post-pandemic abilities. Inside Out 2 may have calmed nerves, but focus groups have seen this latest iteration of Snow White and have also given top executives at Disney reason to hope that they've turned a corner. Allegedly, they have sunk nearly $400 million into production of the film, not including marketing, but many believe they just might get a win with another Barbie-style box office sensation. The idea is that going soft woke, they can drive mothers and daughters to the box office, but simultaneously stay away from hyper controversies that destroyed Lightyear, Strange World, and more. So eventually, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to find out what really happens, and I'm very curious to see how this movie does. I gotta imagine that the name Snow White must carry some sort of nostalgia with a lot of people, that they would get a lot of butts in the seats, but obviously, given all the controversy, given how the culture war is right now, and given how the overall discussion about this film is not that great, I don't think it's going to be as many seats as they probably were hoping for. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you did enjoy it. If you did, consider leaving me a subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video, comment, let me know what you thought, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Hypnotic out.